Okay, and we're live with the F1 podcast with myself, Midnight Iso, and Sarah Hawkie. Hi. And we are going to be watching Friday qualifying for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Feels weird saying that, doesn't it? Oh, have you gone again?
The camera just went, nope.
Sorry. Still got your picture on. If not, I can put a picture of Jar Jar Binks up. Okay, and I have to say hello to Pedro straight off the way. Good to see
that
you.
was quick. That was very quick.
And I'm not going to say it, I'm going to say it, that's what she said. Oh, your camera's coming back. That's a good time. Hey.
I'm back.
Hey, it's all working. Right, and we have the first cars out on track.
We do.
Just a heads up to everyone, I'm having a bit of a double vision day, so I'm struggling to read things. So if I get things wrong, you can call me Crofty, or you can just let Sarah do all the technical details. I think we're going to go with the latter on that one.
I'll help when I can.
So, what the track is very wet. We saw FP1, which is the only practice they get before a official session this weekend. Well, this week.
Yep.
And it's still a bit wet out there now. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Although it does look like it's dried up a lot since earlier. There was a lot of spray earlier.
Well, we've got Russell out on intermediates, and the track on the dry line is bone dry.
Yeah. I think they'll look to change that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Oh,
especially if... I was going to say if someone's on softs already.
Yeah, Zhou Guang Yu. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be softs and mediums before... Well, now it already is. So what's your prediction for this session? We'll have it straight off the bat.
Ooh. I reckon the two Ferraris, 1 and 2, because they were flying in practice. Don't know. The Haas looked quite fast, although not the pace of the Ferraris, but they still did look pretty fast. And all the other teams, I don't know, it was quite disappointing. They couldn't really put a competitive time in. But was that just drivers taking it easy in the rain? Don't know. What about you?
Well, I'm hoping to see a very good Sainz result, but I did watch back the Grand Prix from last year, and he was a little bit terrible in the wet here last year, and so was Perez. So I think we're going to see a Ferrari pole, and it's got to be Max probably on the second or third at worst. Let's go see where those Mercs and McLarens come in.
Yeah.
Also, hello to Roses as well. Good to see you and Pedro. And to answer your question, I didn't personally watch FP1. I caught the end of it. I basically caught a red flag and then a Bottas spin. So I bet he's really happy with that. The history he's got at this track.
Oh. Yeah, I was just saying to Luke before we went live, Latifi seemed to get in the way of a lot of people during that practice session, just sitting on the racing line.
The trick is, with wet weather racing though, it's going to be, there is one line and one line only.
True,
so,
very true.
Yeah, going offline, you cool down your tyres, particularly if they're going onto slicks. So there's going to be a lot of that, and maybe a lot of Latifi too. And let's face it, he's not everyone's favourite driver at the moment.
Not at the moment. I don't think he's his favourite driver at the moment either.
That's a very accurate term. Yeah, he's probably
he needs some luck on his side.
Yeah, I think him and Glock have are on the hit list for a lot of Hamilton fans.
Oh yeah.
Roses reckons inter tyres for Q1 and half for Q2. Well, I think we're seeing mixed sets at the moment, but it's a 15-minute session.
Yeah, definitely. It's much drier than it was earlier.
Much, yes.
I see that a lot of teams at the moment are going to slicks. The Ferraris being on both softs, I think. So they've literally just gone full send already.
Hmm. I, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'd be tempted to go out there and inters for one installation lap, but it does leave you less
Yeah,
time to figure out the actual grip on the slicks. But
true.
you can bin it so much easier.
Definitely.
These are world class drivers, so hey, rather them than me.
Mm.
We'll see. All right, which one's going to go backwards first?
Oh, the two Aston Martins currently on top. Don't think that will last for long, but it's good to see him on top.
There's a big gap between Stroll and Vettel. 3 and a bit seconds on the same tyre.
Yeah. I heard that Carlos Sainz had an engine part replacement. They're not
Okay.
sure what, if it was the power unit or it was like just an engine component as yet.
Okay. Again, that may affect him long term.
Mm. I was a bit sad for him when he had that steering wheel issue at Australia, but
Yeah. And unfortunately, he got very hot under the collar and dropped himself off the course as well, didn't he? He had a bit of a
yeah,
horrible weekend that weekend.
yeah. But he's staying in Ferrari for a couple more years, so I'm sure he's happy about that.
And
I was saying to Pedro, I think that's good for his career. He's got a
oh,
little bit of stability. Ooh, that's not good.
is that Latifi or is that Albon?
That's not good.
13 was that? No, 23. That's Albon, isn't it? Oh Christ!
Ooh,
That's exploding brakes, isn't it?
must be,
Well,
yeah.
he's blown the tyre as well. Yeah, no
Ouch.
wonder it's a red flag.
Well, that's the first tyre we've seen blown this season, isn't it?
It is, but that's looking at it. That looks more like there's a fire going on. That looks more like the tyre's gone as a result of something else,
Yeah.
the brakes
No,
are
I
stuck on
definitely
or something.
agree. Definitely agree with that.
Oh dear. And just a reminder to anyone who's watching with us, you're probably going to have a feed up to about 30 seconds ahead of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like has the suspension collapsed as well? 'Cause if so, that's one hell of a failure.
Yeah. Ooh.
In the older days, in the 2000s, when they used to have the exhaust come through the top of the side pods, it occasionally used to melt the suspension.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be that on this occasion because the exhaust comes out the back of the car in that big single pipe.
I mean, it looks pretty much still together, but I don't know. It didn't look very nice.
No, you're right, didn't? Ted Kravitz has just stated Latifi had a similar problem at Bahrain testing. I'd forgotten about
Oh.
that. Could well be the same
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, I remember now.
They did manage to get that fixed for the next session, but depends how
Yeah.
long this red flag is going to be. 12 minutes and say 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose it's do you rush it to get him back out, or do you just take where he's at the moment and then just try tomorrow and Sunday to come back?
It depends if he's got any floor damage as well, doesn't it?
True. Yeah, looking back, it looks quite isolated, but also for it to just blow like that.
I'll tell you what though, the aerodynamicists are going to be having a field day with that one because you can see the aerodynamics, the path of the airflow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and it looks like a part of the suspension has probably collapsed as well.
Yeah, especially when that explosion happened. It looked like it just went.
Yeah. Just the fact it's still going and we got back to the bits is... I'll tell you what, that is one hell of a picture though.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm taking far too much joy from this, aren't I? I mean, it looks so
I
pretty.
just saw it. Look at this picture shot of McLaren. Ooh.
That set of tyres is ruined.
Yeah. Oh, he narrowly avoided it.
Well, it's not often you see bits of burning car on the track, is it?
No.
So Roses says exploding brake line. Could well be.
Yeah, you can see a picture
Hmm.
at the moment of them showing the damage.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's Paul Lesser or Anthony Davison talking. They're saying that he doesn't think that's going to run again. I would be inclined to agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, they've showed that they're alright race pace wise, so maybe they just have to repair it, come back tomorrow, try and get some points, or I don't know, just try and survive until Sunday.
Yeah. Well, we did have Albon at Australia, who started at the back, came home in 10th, so...
Yeah, the tyre whisperer. Oh
Yeah.
my god, to last 57 laps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of the pictures of Perez going, hang on, he's a tyre whisperer.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the pair of them are pretty easy on tyres, it would seem. Although I have to say, Albon's so far quite a surprise this year. I mean, it's good to see him back in the car, and
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to handily beat Latifi like he's done so far.
Yeah. Well, I think Latifi this year, well, the beginning of this year is, I don't know, I'll be surprised if he gets a contract next year, the way he's going. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Just the rookie mistakes, and he's no longer a rookie.
yeah.
So, and like you say, for his teammate just to come in, like will consistently beat him,
Yeah,
probably puts doubts in Williams' mind.
yeah, exactly that. A lot of analysis have said the Williams is a very tricky car to drive,
Yeah.
but we already know Albon is a known quantity against some other racing drivers, and if he's
Yeah.
just jumped in, yeah, like you said, it doesn't look good on him on Latifi. And Williams have already stated that they don't need his money anymore. So it's like apparently the statement was that we'll keep him on. The money's handy, but it's not the reason why we're keeping him. It's like to keep a little bit of consistency over from last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not looking good for his contract going forwards.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that although they say Williams is a hard car to drive, I'm assuming all of these cars at the moment are hard to drive with the porpoising.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely. And some drivers are going to cope better than others. It doesn't seem to have affected Valtteri Bottas at all,
no.
or Leclerc.
Do you reckon Bottas can restart his streak this weekend?
What, into Q3?
Yeah,
Anything's possible.
true. I bet he was so disappointed when he didn't make it to Q3. Like, for Australia. Imagine that, a huge streak and then just gone.
I don't think he would have shed too many tears, but I do absolutely hear you on that. So I think the bigger shock, I think he would have still been, perhaps been more of a wry smile at Saudi Arabia when Hamilton barely got out of Q1.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Well, I don't know if they put it in place. It's a bit confusing, but I saw somewhere that for tomorrow, wherever you finish, you won't like. It's not like last year that you do the sprint race. That's your position for Sunday. Apparently, it doesn't matter. Wherever you qualify today is where you'll be starting tomorrow and Sunday. And it doesn't matter about the result you get tomorrow. But I don't know if they put that in place yet, or if that's a future plan. I think Pedro sent it to me, something about that, but I'm not sure they're doing that or not.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that impending rule change or current rule change. I mean, if that's the case, though, if you're starting at the back on the sprint tomorrow, and I know the points are more this year, it goes up to the top 5, is it?
I think so, something like that, yeah.
I mean,
But it's not as much as it was last year, I don't think.
I want to say it's more points than last year.
Yeah.
But either way, that means if they're going to do that, I mean, if you finish below the points, you might as well just stop the car and save the engine mileage.
True.
I hope that's not the case. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I just remember Pedro sending it to me, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that seems fair or not. Because to put a sprint race in to get extra points, but then you start where you start, like you qualified today, so it seems a bit unfair.
Yeah, exactly that. Okay, we're going to have to do a little bit of research before we watch the actual sprint to see what the actual
Yeah.
outcome is going to be.
Yeah,
Or
it might be
result.
just a future thing that they're planning on doing, but I don't know. I feel like they've not yet fully grasped like the sprint race idea. They're still kind of figuring things out.
I did watch a WTF1 video the other day, and it was on the sprint races. And apparently, the alleged plan this year was also have it was Canada. I want to say Interlagos and another track as a sprint race as well. So they were going to have 6,
Oh,
but they abandoned that one and they've stuck with just the 3 this year.
yeah.
I prefer less often because it's something more dynamic, more special.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But it suits everyone differently, of course. Some people are going to love the sprint races. Depends if you're used to F2
I
and
suppose
whatnot.
they're still getting to grips with the regulations, because isn't it still that you can only drive a certain amount of time with these engines or something?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that was the sticking point. The teams didn't want to expand upon the agreed 3 because of the
Yeah.
incurring cost. I mean, the FIA have put a cost cap down and said, "Oh, okay, we're going to expand the amount of racing we're going to do," and then the teams went, "No, thanks."
Yeah. No, thank you.
They want to develop the cars, not race on the sprint race.
Yeah.
No
I think
quality.
development time is so crucial, like this year especially, as we're all getting to grips with the cars.
Rosa says quali today will sort the grid for today races when they were the sprint race. Where the driver finishes in the sprint race will start in the position on Sunday. Okay, so presuming you're right there, Roses, hopefully it means it's the same as last year.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Okay, I'm going to do is Google the point system quickly. I think we're talking more about the sprint race when we're actually the actual qualifying at the moment.
Getting ready to go again.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be the same as last year. Okay, that's
That's good.
I think that was probably a proposed
Maybe.
change. I mean, we get that a lot in F1, of course.
Yeah.
Right, so the track's had a bit more time to dry. We've only had a handful of 10 drivers set any sort of time yet, or 9 drivers.
I've seen a few drivers still on Inters though.
That is
Russell,
surprising.
Perez, Verstappen.
Or
Don't know.
Or was that the times they set their... I think that's the times they set their times on.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I'd like to see him probably on slicks now, especially if the other cars are going on slicks as well. It's all teams be on full send at the moment.
Got to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah, a little bit.
Although that Ferrari is still looking good.
It is. It's looking good. I think everyone has become a Ferrari fan recently.
Are you pointing the fact I've got a Ferrari shirt behind me?
No. Just saying, like.
I've had that for a few years, I'll have you know. It's just been away, it's been hiding for a while. I'm actually a McLaren fan, personally. But can I find a papaya McLaren flag shirt in my size for non-stupid money? No.
Yeah, same. Formula 1 merchandise is expensive.
Oh god, is it ever?
Get BTCC merch though, that's pretty good. Got a jacket, it's pretty warm. believe in gaps now, I guess.
Ah,
Going like a snail.
I getting a bit of space. Okay, I know where the confusion comes in now. Who sets the fastest lap on Friday qualifying will be given pole position status, even if they basically stuff it up in the sprint race. So the pole position last year is whoever finished the sprint race was given pole position, regardless of qualifying.
So, for example, if Leclerc qualifies first, he'll qualify first for tomorrow and Sunday.
I believe the places will be as the sprint race finishes, but the pole position title, as in for the stat nerds, will be given today.
Oh, okay. I get that. That makes it less confusing.
Yeah. It depends on how you present the information, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
F1 never like to make it simple.
Absolutely not. I mean, anyone who's joining for the first time of a F1 experience must go like, what the hell? I mean, it's just cars going around in circles. Yes, but no.
Yeah, trust me, give it time, you'll like it.
Yeah. If you go back to the Canadian Grand Prix a few years ago, Vettel wins a race, but has a 5-second penalty. So the person who wins doesn't win. Okay. It's that kind of thing, isn't it, with F1?
Yeah, yeah, it is. You're always on your toes. Make you keep guessing.
Exactly that. Right, yeah, it's definitely soft tyre territory.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're not as vastly superior to the Inters as I thought they were going to be. They're only about 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster. And being fair, we've got a Aston Martin on provisional pole. That says there's a lot more time left.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're just trying to find the line.
Okay, yeah, Alonso's taken the top spot briefly, and he's on the second and a bit faster.
Lando!
Ooh, Lando provisional pole.
I mean, I think that would change pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, both of the Ferraris are looking very fast at the moment.
And signs of a double purple sector. So only Q1.
Yeah, we've got to remember
Nine-
it's only Q1.
9 tenths ahead of Norris, though. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing the pace of the Mercs and the Red Bulls.
Yeah, I've heard that there's some changes they've made, but is that enough to match the other team's pace? I don't know. I think they were talking a lot about weight reduction, because the Mercs are still pretty heavy.
Yeah. I believe the Sauber, well, the Alfa Romeo, is one of the only cars that's actually underweight at the moment.
Really?
Apparently it's due to having a shorter wheelbase, amongst other things.
Okay.
And if you look at a lot of the cars, they're showing a lot more black this year as well. That is apparently due to the sheer fact it's an unpainted surface, so they're saving more weight on the paint.
Interesting.
If you look at the Mercedes, it's a bit more obvious, and if you look at the flooring, particularly on the Aston Martin, you can see it as well. It just blends into black.
Oh yeah, no, I do see that now. To be fair, before you mentioned that, I didn't know.
Yeah, it wasn't until it was pointed out to me I started noticing it as well. I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that track with the sprint weekend is today, Austria and Brazil. Okay. Hey, we've got the Katie there as well.
Hello.
Someone's having strawberry daiquiris.
Ooh, very nice.
Russell's in the drop zone at the moment. Again, That Mercedes does seem to take 2 or 3 laps to get his tyres into the working zone. So you
Yeah,
may see him just
definitely.
circulating for a couple of laps.
Well, I mean, currently, Gasly, Russell, Perez, Hamilton, Latifi, and Albon all in the elimination zone. Well, that just changed. Hamilton's just gone seventh. No, eighth.
Yeah, those times are falling, but still that. Oh yeah, Verstappen is right on the pace as per normal, but Perez. Oh, yellow flag.
Yellow flag.
Who's off? Who's off?
Oh, Latifi again.
I was gonna say Latifi. It's always Latifi.
Come on, Latifi. Just drive.
He's
Again.
he's trying. Oh, Norris. I shouldn't say provisional pole, should I? Because it's not. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Leclerc and Sainz.
So that changed pretty quickly. It'd be good to see like McLaren back up there if possible.
Absolutely. We have been seeing after, particularly Melbourne, they have been Melbourne and Saudi Arabia. They've been more back up with it in Australia, and
Yeah,
we just need
definitely.
to see Danny Rick do it as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's not that far away
He
compared
also,
to what he was last year.
he
At the
does.
pace.
Yeah, he does need to beat Norris though, doesn't he? He needs to start beating him this
True.
year. Oh, here goes Latifi.
Oh my god.
Car says no.
No, but look at this bit. He's like, just takes the sign with him.
That car has no grip on grass. That was an out lap, apparently. Oh dear.
Oops.
I think we can safely say Latifi's not getting into Q2.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Hamilton's currently at risk.
Yeah.
14th.
And so is Russell. He's still there.
Yeah.
Ted Kravitz is saying how cold the place is, so maybe the Mercs aren't switching on those tyres.
True. Like you say, it might take them a few more laps. They don't have the time for a few more laps.
And we've got a Xenos in the chat as hello, dude. And yes,
Hello.
quali is on a Friday this week. It's a sprint race tomorrow.
Yeah. A bit confusing, but
Mhm.
I mean, it's more racing. Yeah.
I think I'd be happier if they did qualifying and sprint on the same day, though.
Yeah, true. I think that would be better.
Mm.
Because the free practice is all muddled up.
Mm.
Like, got free practice tomorrow, then you got a sprint race.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point
The
in
way-
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, do free practice 1 and 2 today.
Yeah, it would make more sense.
Yeah, and then do the sprint and qualifying in that opposite order tomorrow.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, quite well, thank you, Xenos. Fortunately, I can't see straight at the moment, but that's besides the point. It's good to see you, buddy.
So currently, with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go, we've got Hamilton, Vettel, Ocon, Latifi, and Albon at risk.
Hearing that name, Hamilton, get risk of getting knocked out in Q1,
Yeah,
it's odd,
so
isn't
odd.
it?
Yeah.
And that Mercedes is still porpoising very badly.
Yeah. I think it's still one of the teams that have been affected by it the most. I mean, during the practice, the Ferraris did have a little bit, but not as much as the Mercedes have.
The going theory at the moment is Ferrari haven't gone for ultimate downforce, and that has helped them get a nice sort of level plane at the back.
Yeah.
Whereas Mercedes are having to trim downforce out of the car just to stop it from bouncing. And oh god, that looks horrible. Hamilton is struggling. That car is not looking good.
Ricardo up in third. Let's go.
Hey. Zhou is up there as well in P8 currently. Verstappen goes quickest. And where will Hamilton come out? 13th.
13th, only 13th.
And Russell is currently in the drop zone. So if Vettel or Ocon go faster, okay, Russell's in. So okay, if Schumacher, Mick or Vettel and Stroll go faster, Hamilton's going to get dropped out. He's only 3 tenths ahead of Mick.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Is he struggling with the car? Like, I don't know. It won't be the first time he gets in Q3 this year.
It's not looking great for that Merc side, is it?
No. To be fair, before the season started, I didn't expect Russell to, I don't know, to do better than Hamilton. I thought experience will better than age.
Mick up to 10th. Hamilton's out.
Oh.
Holy cow. 17th.
Oh my god.
But is Hamilton on another lap? Is Hamilton on another lap?
I think he is currently, yes, actually.
Oh, he's still on that. 14th. Oh, he's through.
Oh my god.
So Russell's still out there. Okay, Latifi has not improved. Russell's up. Oh, Hamilton 15th.
Oh.
Skin of his teeth.
That was close. That was.
Yeah, I think I said the same thing as
Zhou
Crofty.
up in 4th. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Zhou, that's an epic showing from the Alfa Romeo. Where's Bottas? 13th. That's a big gap between the pair of them.
Magnussen up in the top 10 again.
Oh. That was a close one for those Merc boys.
Yeah, that was interesting.
0.004 of a second between Tsunoda and Hamilton.
Oh my god, that's close.
Hamilton's actually having to ask if he's through as well.
Yeah, I bet that's new for him.
This is becoming a bit more common this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Merc is looking horrible down the straights.
It's not looking fun.
Apparently Ocon was stuck in the garage as well. So if Ocon had gotten out of there and Albon too, I'm fairly certain that would have been Hamilton eliminated.
Yeah, I reckon. He's got to count his lucky stars in, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, as Zeno says, holy moly, that's embarrassing. But he did get through, but that is still embarrassing for the 8 times champions. Was it 8 times? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. Ooh. Now, will those Mercs get through into Q3?
Oh, the pace that they're doing currently, I don't think so. I reckon it will be the skin of their teeth. They'll get through.
I think Russell's more likely to, because Hamilton's just not dealing with that Merc in the same way.
No. I don't know, it seems, especially with Australia as well, that Mercedes favoured a little bit more to Russell than they did Hamilton last race. They do the same. Push.
I hope they were, because they told Hamilton not to race Russell, didn't they? I'm hoping they're just basically conserving parts, their engine parts and modes until later in the year when they can actually use them. I mean, there's no point fighting each other tooth and nail for 1 or 2 points when it won't affect the championship constructors standings.
Yeah, I bet he doesn't like that though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Carl, good to see you again, buddy. Yeah. Who is Hamilton? This is a question, Sarah. Who is Hamilton? A lucky bitch.
Yeah, very, very, very lucky on that one.
Absolutely.
Like you say, if those two drivers got out of the pits, I reckon definitely would have been eliminated. For sure.
I'll tell you what though, Q2 is looking like there's going to be a mix of people, mix of teams that are going to be eliminated from Q3.
It does look pretty close though. Between, well, the top 10 especially.
Although standout from that session, Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
And as Carla said, a Alpha on P4 at the moment. Wait until we get to Q3.
Yeah, at the moment.
As Pedro says, there are surprising results there. I don't think it's over yet.
So the second team of Red Bull, both their drivers didn't get in. They still having issues?
What, the AlphaTauris?
Yeah.
Quite possibly. I haven't seen much from Gasly or Tsunoda. I know eliminated Tsunoda and all that, but it does. I think the first two races were very much a big anomaly at Saudi and Bahrain.
Yeah.
Because McLaren have suddenly woken up after Australia.
Yeah. Oh, whoa.
And it looks like we're getting a lot of flexibility in the grid this year.
Yeah. It makes for better racing, I guess. Like, got us on our toes.
And here's a question for you. Who would you back to qualify in a race? Latifi or a Ford KA? A rusty Ford KA? I'll be betting on the Ford KA.
Yeah, me too. At the moment. At the moment I would be.
Definitely faster than Albon's car at the moment. Which was obviously on fire, but still.
Is there a way that Albon can use his car instead? I think Albon got quite unlucky there with his issue.
Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously an ongoing issue for Williams that they're going to have to sort, but hopefully he's going to have a cracking race tomorrow like he did in Oz.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I do like the fact Alpine have gone back to their normal colour, and doesn't mean I'm going to call
yeah.
them Racing
like the
Point
blue.
anymore.
Yeah, I prefer the blue to the pink, but
Yeah,
both. They got the livery to use, why not use it?
exactly. As long as Ferrari stay red, that's all I care about.
There's a bit of rain on the forecast, I see.
Ooh, this could get spicy.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's looking foggy and misty.
Is indeed.
Right, and the drivers are out on circuit again. I suspect they're going to have to bang in a couple of laps now to ensure they've got dry where they're running. So you might see a very big queue of people trying to get out.
Yeah.
And
Rush.
Mercedes have dropped their car on the tyre blanket.
Whoops.
Oh dear. When it all goes wrong, it goes wrong massively, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Rain is coming, according to Ted Kravitz.
Yeah, they have one lap. One lap until the rain comes in.
Why are the Mercedes going so slow in the pit lane?
Not sure. Maybe they're just trying to ensure a gap.
Do that on track, that just looked weird.
Yeah, that looked weird. This first lap's going to be so important for a lot of drivers, I think, especially if the rain is coming.
You're going to have to get a banker lap in quick. What used to happen back in the day in the 90s and all that used to do 1 hour qualifying. And
Really?
yeah, it was the format back in the day. And what would happen if you had changeable conditions is there's no cars be out during that time at all. So if it rained at the beginning, they'd all wait until the last 10 minutes to go out. If it rained at the end, you'd see nothing for the entire time it rained. That's why they don't do it anymore. Carl has a question. Why is Imola a very popular track? I'm going to let you try and field that one, Sarah.
Well, I guess because it's very close to Ferrari's home base. It's got a big emphasis on Ferrari. Don't know if it's as... it might be more popular than Monaco, but I think it's just one of those classic tracks that you just expect Formula 1 to go to. Kind of like Monaco. I don't know. For me, it'd probably just be because Ferrari is like an hour away.
Yeah.
And it's their home track, basically.
Yeah. To me, I would answer that in a very similar way, and repeat the fact historic. And it is a track that does punish drivers. I'm not referring to the incidents in '94 with Senna and Ratzenberger, but it is a track that punishes mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's good. That's good and interesting by itself. But I personally don't like the track. I hate racing it. Never enjoyed it. Orlando goes P2.
Yeah.
I may have missed your answer, Carl. Oh, I just caught that punchline. I'm not going to repeat it either. Okay, so what have we got? Do you want to do the rundown so far on the first runs?
I can do. You got Verstappen with the fastest with a 1:18.7. Then you got Carlos, Lando, Perez, Leclerc, Alonso, Magnussen, Vettel, Ricciardo, Bottas, Russell, Schumacher, Hamilton, Zhou, and Stroll.
Oh, it's moving around all the time, isn't it?
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yellow flag set to 3. I'm getting
I've
the
just
feeling.
seen it. Oh my god. That don't look pretty.
Which one is it? Oh, Sainz. There's a lot of damage to that, it looks like.
Yep. He's doing so well.
Yeah, that suspension's pointed in odd directions.
He's not going to be happy about that.
Oh, do you know what the funny thing is, though? It still may get him into Q3.
Maybe. True. He's got that time still set.
Okay, red flag number 2 for qualifying in Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix weekend.
I bet he's happy that he signed his contract a couple of days ago.
Has he actually signed his contract?
Yeah, he's with Ferrari for 2 more years.
That's a bit stunning, really.
I said earlier, I think it's big for his career because he knows what he's doing for the next 2 years, sort of thing. Like, I think Mick Schumacher as a reserve driver or a development driver just needs that more time to get used to Formula 1 before he gets that Ferrari seat, I reckon.
Quite possibly, but some drivers are not made in lower teams. They have to be in a big team before they come alive. I mean,
True.
to me, excluding this weekend and last weekend, he's been made since he was in McLaren. I mean, the stuff he did in Toro Rosso and Renault was almost average.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big shunt. Well, at least it's cosmetic and just the front left suspension.
Yeah, I suppose.
If he's lucky, if they can get that back to pit lane, which is only a few hundred yards down there, they could even repair that.
Yeah, try and get him out.
Yeah, I would have liked. I want to see Mick in a better team.
Me too.
But primarily at the moment he needs to beat Magnussen. I think that's the goals at the moment.
Yeah, no, definitely I agree with that. He hasn't yet though, has he? He has not beaten Kevin yet.
Exactly that. I mean, let's face it. Last year he was up against a pay driver from Russia, which was having confidence issues, and that was fully alluded to on Drive to Survive how bad Mazepin's confidence was, completely shot.
Yeah, definitely.
Which,
I think it might have been a shock to Mick, Kevin coming back and just, I don't know. It's almost like he hasn't left it. Like he still knows how to control the car. He still can get them results. Like,
yeah,
no, maybe it's been a shock to the system. Like I actually have to put in the work now.
could be good. The rain's
It
coming.
could be.
Oh dear, that's going to be bad for the Max.
Mm,
And as Carla said,
true.
let the drivers drive the scooter. Let them do a Vettel.
Yeah.
Well, Roses, it does take about 25 to 30 minutes to repair a corner of the car, but I will allude to, I think it was Hungary 2020 or 2019, when Max Verstappen went off on the side lap to the grid, and they repaired it in under 20 minutes. But then again, that was probably only one part, not the whole front suspension. I think Patrick's just telling me I forgot to change the name of the YouTube feed, so I better go and do that.
Apparently, Carlos dented his road Ferrari. Wonder how you explain that to your team principal, your team. I dented my road car. What are you driving? One of your Ferraris.
That's expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's very expensive. Cheers for the subtle heads up, Patrick. And changed. No, that's Red Bull news. Yeah, and Roses has quite as accurately said that's what Red Bull tend to do. They seem to pull fixes out of their butt when it comes to fixing Verstappen's car. I'll tell you what though, with that rain, I think we can basically write off the Mercedes now.
Yep.
I think that's it for them. There were people saying that it was idiotic for Carlos to leave McLaren, and I would be honest, I was one of them. And do you know what? I'm glad to be wrong. I am glad to be wrong, although I would still like to see Ricciardo doing better.
Yeah, I think it's a hard one. I think Carlos himself likes being a Ferrari driver. But like you, I did like him at McLaren. I suppose there's the time, you have to move on.
Hmm.
Like you said, like after these 2 years, Carlos will still be pretty young.
I just
What
don't know how old he is.
Like, team will he go to?
I think we need to write off that question for at least a year.
Yeah, true. See how he gets on.
Yeah, I saw the other day on YouTube there was a recommended video to me of driver predictions for 2023. I'm like, you're reaching, considering I was given this book for Easter, and the first thing I did, bear in mind it's all on the 2022 Formula One, and the first thing I did was went and check Haas driver, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. So it changes daily around Formula One. I think the only
Yeah, I suppose that's hard when you're writing a Formula One book.
yeah
You can never be like current and like down with it.
exactly that. So the big question at the moment is, will Vettel hang around?
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting question. I don't know if Aston Martin can't produce a fast car. No, is it worth him staying around or? Is it his time? I mean, it'll be a sad day whenever he decides to leave
Mm.
because it's Sebastian Vettel.
Mm. Though it is amazing. He's gone from one of the most hated people in the sport to one of the most loved, and I
Yeah,
don't quite
yeah.
understand how that happened.
I know.
When he was in Red Bull, I absolutely hated seeing him win everything. And he was an absolute git to Webber. And that lost him a lot of popularity. But in the last couple of years, he's completely turned it around. He's such a likeable and fun guy.
Yeah, he's wholesome. He's nice. I think he does a lot for. Well, he's kind of like Hamilton. He's very human rights. Likes his man for human rights, and I don't know. Maybe having children calmed him down a little bit from his Red Bull days.
Quite right. Maybe, yeah, it's mellowed him out. And Patrick says, I just have seen the new... Hang on, sorry, I'm having trouble reading. Give me a second. It's on YouTube, so it's on the feed. I just watched the 12th. Oh, right, yeah. But Gunter couldn't wait to get Nikita out, and do you know what? Popularity-wise, he couldn't have made a better decision.
True, yeah.
And Pedro has said that there are rumours of Aston Martin with a B-spec car being tested. Supposedly, it's a considerable improvement. Well, it can't be worse, can it?
Interesting.
Hmm.
Raining again.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I'm waiting for these new generation of cars. I'm not going to classify Imola as I'm going to use inverted commas for this, proper racetrack. I mean, a big, open, modern Formula 1 track. Because this is a hard place to pass under any
True.
formula. I'll wait for something where passing is more prevalent.
Mm.
And then we're going to see indeed how bad some of these cars are or are not. Imola is a bit of an anomaly. I mean, what have we had so far? Bahrain's the only track, it's the first one of this series. You can write that one off completely. Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia, it's a street track. Oz,
Be
which
tight
is a
as
street
well.
track. Imola, which is a tight, historic track. Something. Rose has suggested Silverstone. That was the first one that came to my mind. I also was very aware that it's a very traditional track as well, and very high speed. But we'll see. But that would be an absolute test there. Hello, Cass.
Oh.
Now, will any driver go out and just test the car in these
Enjoy-
conditions?
Enjoy the rain.
Enjoy it. Have a bit of fun getting wet out there. Sounds a bit dodgier than what I intended, but sure. Oh, that Red Bull, though, looks like it's on rails, doesn't it? Dude, I love the look of that Red Bull as well. It looks mean.
Does. But not as mean as the Ferraris.
I'll give you that.
I mean, before, when they launched it, I was like, two minds, but I've actually seen it on track. I'm like, oh, looks alright, looks nice.
Our correspondent from Trinidad and Tobago, Cass, is saying it's 33 degrees and 85% humidity in, well, there. Not in Italy, I'm afraid.
Jealous of.
Yeah, that is hot, mate. That's too much for me. There's always one lunatic around in a onesie line costume. For those that can't see it, yeah, there's a few funny people out on in the audience on track side today. Patrick, you might have to explain that comment, mate. He says Red Bull seriously struggling without Honda. They're actually
They are still with Honda this year.
yeah. Honda are officially, unofficially helping them.
Mm. But there are well proposed plans for Porsche to come into Formula One, and pretty excited for that. But it's like they're going to be helping Red Bull from like 2026.
Hmm
But I mean, I still support Porsche because I love Porsches. But
I saw a very detailed plan the other day of Porsche joining F1. Have you heard Porsche and Audi joining F1, but not
yep,
together?
yeah, that's
Audi for their own
interesting.
team, and Porsche to take over the Honda project.
Yeah,
But
I heard that.
the curious thing is, they wouldn't be able to swap data. They wouldn't be able to do anything, although they're owned by exactly the same people. They would not be able to communicate with each other. So
Yeah, it's interesting.
where would the benefit be for the VW group to do that? I mean, you'd put your eggs in one basket or the other, surely.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like you say, it doesn't make sense that they're owned by the same people. And I guess it would kind of be like a Red Bull AlphaTauri sort of vibe, like
But they're
they're
not allowed to
closely
communicate.
related. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
closely related, but not.
Mm. They'd be purely engineering side. They wouldn't be able to communicate with each other under the current rules of F1.
Yeah,
Roses has stated that he's looking forward to Silverstone, Red Bull Ring, Paul Ricard, Hungaroring, and Spa for the test of the cars. I mean, I get that.
yeah, some good tracks.
And yes, Patrick, Honda are still involved, but it is very much not front and centre. That's probably the easiest way of explaining it.
Yeah,
It is a Red Bull engine, but it is completely Honda maintained and designed still.
yeah.
Carl says, other teams having their liveries spoiled by fans. Red Bull, just look at the past liveries. Yeah, they do just copy and paste them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they don't make much differences to theirs, but
And it is going to be interesting to see if Red Bull fix their reliability. That is a question for this weekend, actually, isn't it? Will Red Bull get to the end of the
yeah,
race for both cars?
yeah.
Hmm. Place your bets
If
now.
not, yeah, if not, I think Max will literally be so annoyed.
Can you imagine that?
Am I the only one that gets GT7 vibes from what's his helmet?
No, I can see that. I can see that.
The blue and red, it just makes me think of that game.
Yep. Maybe Gran Turismo are just ahead of the curve on this. Imitating life is an art.
Stroll's getting out, he's done.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to improve on that time. Do you know what? I didn't even realise it had gone green.
Got 3 minutes left,
Yeah.
or 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, it's raining. There's no point risking the car.
But that does mean currently Russell, Mick, Hamilton, Joe, and Stroll
Yep.
are eliminated.
And do you know what? I'm really disappointed there for Joe.
Yeah,
Massively disappointed for him. Although, on the bright side, we have 2 Red Bull, 2 Ferrari, 2 McLaren, a Haas, an Alpine, and an Alfa Romeo. Just no Mercs in Q3.
yeah. Oof.
Rose says he can't wait for the new F1 game. I did see you post the trailer on my Discord, which, funny enough, if you look at the bottom, exclamation point Discord if you're not already in it, or exclamation point Hawkie to check out that one. Hang on, where is she?
Hello.
That one's Twitch.
Yeah, I'll be back probably streaming when I've done uni. Like, you wanna check me out? You can check me out. There's not that much happening over there at the moment.
But you will be.
Will be. I'll be back.
Ooh. Do you know what? Vettel's on track. This shows a lot of experience.
Yeah.
He's getting a cycle lap for Q3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not? You got 2 minutes left. Just take it slow.
Hmm. Although, I've just realised Sainz is out, isn't he? He's not going to be qualifying. He's going to be in Q3,
Oh.
but he's not going to be starting any higher than 10th. So we know we're going to have Sainz, Russell, Mick, and then Hamilton, Joe, and Stroll. Interesting.
Claire's coming out.
He's getting a sign like he's following Vettel's. That's a very wily old move by Vettel. And yep, Patrick, the Astons are rocking British racing green. Oh, I just wish the car was a bit quicker. This driver cam looks good, doesn't it?
Does.
Looks like, yeah, he's looking at the visor, he's struggling with a little bit of misting up.
Yeah.
So, looking at the dash on his wheel, that's... What would you prefer? On the wheel, or on a separate little dash behind the wheel, like Williams do? I'd be tempted to put it on behind the wheel. Static.
Yeah, I suppose, but it's... I don't know, if it probably makes the wheel a little bit bigger than the Williams one, so maybe the bigger wheel helps drivers, so I'm not sure.
Mm.
I suppose it's like, makes sense being on the wheel when you turn it, you can still see.
Yeah.
If there's a screen behind it and you're turning, you might not be able to see when something important might come up.
That is true. Roses. Toto angry at Lewis for possibly buying Chelsea.
I don't think he'd be angry. Toto's got nothing to do with that. That's Hamilton doing whatever he wants in his private life.
That's the first I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah, apparently he's gone into for a bid for Chelsea with Serena Williams.
That's a weird combination.
No, I think it was like £10 million each or something currently.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think it was it.
That is a very low number for
It
that.
was something around that number.
If that's the case, I mean that's a very low number for Chelsea, considering Abramovich put in, I think, one season was £500 million for some of the players.
Yeah. I can't remember if that was the full amount or not, but I saw something about 10. I don't think Toto would be too bothered about it.
Yeah. Lewis has his own life outside of Formula One.
I mean, maybe Toto wants to help him out. Give him another $10 million.
I'll buy some shares in Chelsea while I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So good to see Charles with a car that matches his level. Said it since the first season. He's good. One in Spa and Monza with shitboxes. I reserve the term shitboxes for the film Rush, and Niki Lauda saying it about the 1975, 6, whatever year it was, Ferrari.
Yeah.
That Ferrari in 2019 had an epic engine behind it. Illegal. But after the rules clamped down, it was a shitbox.
Ooh.
And Pedro says they also apparently have an investment fund joining them on probably the bid for Chelsea, I presume.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't think $20 million is enough.
Yeah. It's going to be a consortium of some sort of sort.
I mean, I heard that, like, I was watching, it was the press interview. He wants to do it because he's a sporting fan. But he's an Arsenal fan. So, don't know.
I
I
hear
guess if he's a sporting fan, he's got the money. Why not? Got a life outside Formula One. Maybe that's what he'll do afterwards. He focus on a different sport.
Exactly that. Patrick says the 2020 one that Vettel spun every race was a joke. That's why he's not in Ferrari anymore, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So both Mercs are out. They're out.
Well, that's Q2 over, and there's a couple of big dropouts in that one. One incident for signs.
Yeah.
Okay. So Q3. Are we going for a Leclerc pole, Verstappen, or Perez? Or,
Ooh.
God forbid, somebody completely random.
Ooh. I don't know who to back. Well, you got Max with the best time currently.
That was set in the times where they all only had one run each. We're going to get multiple runs now. And track
I'm gonna
conditions are going to
probably
be tricky.
back Leclerc.
I don't know who to
I
choose.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But Lando's usually quite good in the wet.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true, in fact. Unless it's at Sochi in the final 2 laps.
Yeah.
Too
Or
soon?
it's Spa.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, he ripped all the wheels off the car, didn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Carl says K-Mag. K-Mag for pole. I like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Don't know. Looking at the other names, it's like could do it, but is it possible? I'm not sure.
There was...
At the moment, I think it's either going to be X or Charles.
Yeah. There's been many races in the past where it's come down to the... Well, qualifying sessions rather. Where it's come down to the last person on track has got the best conditions. And I distinctly remember, it was about 2001, at the A1 ring, which is now the Red Bull ring, where Jean Alesi picked up a pole. Or he was second and Fisichella got pole. My memory's fading. It was one of those two. It was one of those two. I'm going to have to Google that after this. But the point being is the last person over the line got the pole. We know it's not going to be the Mercs or Signs. He looks cold. Signs.
Yes.
Honestly, I did a mistake that I wasn't expecting at all. It's a lap that I wasn't even really pushing that hard. I knew that I just needed to put a bunker in to react to the...
I'll tell you what, though, a wet sprint race, that'll be, tricky, won't it?
Yeah, it'd be tricky, but it'd be interesting.
Okay, just to put a bunker in without being on the limit, and unfortunately I lost it. The car, for some reason, I didn't have any warning that I was going to lose it, and it just went. Tricky conditions for sure.
I don't think he really knows what to say.
Well, this is 2 weekends in a row for him, or 2 race weekends in a row.
I lost the rear, yeah.
Yeah.
Entering the last corner, and maybe it was starting to rain. Maybe it was.
We have to come up with a name. We've got Spin Tiffy, Spin Ettel, Spin Stappen. What sign's going to be?
I don't think I was.
Oh.
It's hard to do that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was a red flag and then some rain at just the wrong time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we always struggled a little bit to give a temperature of a tyre, and we're always seemingly taking the biggest jump in the second lap. But we saw that.
Well, it's good to see. We've got Russell on screen at the moment. It's good to see he seemingly matured a lot since last year when he went over and tried to have it out with Bottas after their crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame how the red flags panned out today, but obviously, yeah, if there is a weekend to not be where we want to be,
Going back.
the weekend is to want to do it. So,
Carlos spins.
Carlos spins. Yeah, that works actually. I like it. Pedro said Spain's. Carl said Carlos spins. Yep. Yep.
it's going to be a bit tricky going into the race tomorrow. Usually in these sprint races,
Right, yeah, cars are lining up at the end of the pit lane.
new cars, if you can follow a bit closer. I don't
Getting ready to go.
with enough degradation for us to take our advantage where we are with generally
Who's at the front?
to our
That's Alonso, isn't it? At the front.
Yeah, it must be Ocon's out. He was out in Q1.
Oh,
let's see
yeah.
what we can do. We've got Sunday as well, and
Mm.
can only go up.
Right, hard luck. Good luck, you big
Our
like others.
Crofty calls him every time that crafty old fox.
Second chance for those that
Honestly, if you listen to Crofty, he says the same thing about the same driver every time.
will be leaving the pit lane to start this
A
Q3.
wildly old fox, as Brundle says.
Tyres, Paul di Resta, looking out the commentary box window, it looks like it's either raining very, very faintly or it's pretty much stopped out there.
And Crofty just said, it looks like it's raining either very, very faintly or it's stopped. Pick one,
Yeah.
mate. Pick one, seriously.
Yeah, let us know.
Is it raining or is it not? Is it on or is it off?
I think from the idea, it's rained certain parts of the track. It's not raining in other parts.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely Inters, isn't it?
Mm.
Still freezing, mind you, Crofty, but at least it's not raining anymore. So Max Verstappen,
Well, Ted Gravitz has just said it's not raining where he is.
interesting what George Russell was saying. Of course, you know, that's what Mercedes have suffered from all day, that they need
Oh,
so many laps.
and the racing? No. Oh,
Is that that looks like Max, doesn't it?
yeah.
Let's face it, he's the only one who tried and
Yeah.
pass on a qualifying lap.
On hot tyres, and that's what Ferrari have been so good at so far.
That might suit him sticking behind him, surely. Slipstream.
One of those lights have gone off on the Ferrari again. It's the same problem in
Oh
Saudi.
yeah, I see.
It's not exactly a big problem, but it does indicate their wiring isn't top grade.
No.
Yeah, still not dry though. And a nice
Oh, it wasn't Max.
between Charles Leclerc and Sergio Perez that we were watching from the heli.
Because Max had only just come out of the pits.
Oh.
So it was Perez.
Ooh. And he's had an off already.
Mm.
Q1. Sector 1. I reckon they're going to go circulate for about 10 minutes. Just keep going round. Maybe
Yeah.
keep the heat in the tyres. That Ferrari doesn't actually look good with on the straights, does it?
No. It was bouncing quite a bit just then.
Fueled up to just keep running and running and running. Make some quick changes towards the end.
Yeah, I would think what they'll do is 2 or 3 laps in this set, and then they will want to do one flying at the end when the track's dry, because that will spark up the tyre and get the
Yeah, some parts of the track look really dry, but then some look really wet.
So this part of the track, from I can never remember the name of it. What was it called? Begins with T.
down into Aqua Mineral,
Uh-oh.
flag in sector 2,
Yellow flag.
dropped it just where it was into the tyres.
And K-Mag's off. Damn it. Tamburello I was thinking of. No, not Tamburello. Toza.
It's going to be a red flag.
So, okay, where is...
Yep.
Reverse out shouldn't be too bad. However, we saw Valtteri Bottas earlier today get beached.
Has he gone off at the very anti-altar?
I'm going to say touch the white line. Everybody's been touching
I'm not too sure at the moment.
Everybody's been doing it, and it's just a line of sight.
Mm.
Getting going, he's reversing, doing the 25.
So, Carl's prediction of K-Mag on pole isn't looking good.
They don't like it either. It is there for safety.
Well, can he reverse out of there? Ooh, the engine's running. The engine's running.
They're pretty quick to call red flags today, aren't they? Because I don't know if anyone was watching practice 1. Norris spun with 5 minutes to go. They red flagged it. But he got himself out of the gravel pit. Then same with Kevin.
Hmm.
Managed to get himself out.
Okay, looks like he was at Aqua Minerale, actually.
It's a bit trigger happy, but one thing it does do, we don't like that to eat into the time that's going to sit, obviously qualifying. And I think in practice, yes, you can afford to do that, but not now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, from the top of the track, from the high points, it looks like it is all running effectively down the hill.
Left-hand wheels
Yeah.
on the white line.
Yeah, it seems a lot of cars are spinning here. It must be because that curb and then trying to go uphill.
Yeah, that and the touching the white lines. That's a little bit of a rookie error, actually.
Saved him. Look, he spun the
Mm.
gears up, then stopped it. Then he's been able to do that kind of
Do you know what? He did all the wrong things there, but somehow has gotten away with it.
Yeah.
fast.
Buried the throttle,
Good luck with taking on Kevin.
slammed on the brakes, and he's kind of got away with that.
Survives to fight another day.
No damage though.
Lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
To be fair, he's lucky to be in the sport on a multi-year deal, so, hey, take it where you can get it.
Yeah.
That's an easy change, but everything else is okay. A bit of dust and yeah, a bit of gravel rash on the outside of those tyres. He has got away with that. Yeah, beautiful.
Lucky boy.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Although you are right, they are definitely calling red flags very eagerly.
Yeah, it's a red flag. Like, they don't give the chance the drivers to try and get back out.
Hmm.
Well, some are obvious that they can't get back out, like Carlos, but
Car out the gravel enough. And continue on the cruise.
One thing I would personally like to see, and I don't know how you feel about this, I feel like they throw safety cars, virtual safety cars, red flags far too often at the moment. And I do have a slight theory of how to deal with it.
okay.
In the older days, when it was in the old V10s and V8s and all that, they used to throw in certain sectors a double wave yellow, which basically means you do effectively virtual safety car speeds in that
Yeah.
sector. And they could easily do that by, as Max takes a trip over the grass, by employing localised virtual safety car speeds in certain sectors. What do you think?
In the grass.
Yeah, no, I think that would be better. But I guess it's if the drivers would listen to that, they would just. It's difficult. But like you say, it might be better just doing that than just instantly throwing out
Hmm.
flags and stuff like that.
I just find, as a viewer, this constant red flag and safety car rules
stop, start, stop, start.
breaks up the action way too much.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I keep seeing it's effectively, if you get a car at the front, they don't bother going any faster than what they have to, for the sheer fact if they get a... Most races now, there's a safety car. So
Yeah.
that whole lead gets wiped out. So they sort of hang around maybe 10 seconds ahead and just sit there. And not to
Yeah.
mention it's... I find it a bit poor for the viewers, it's constant flags.
Yeah.
And whereas if they just slow them down during where an incident is, I mean, if they have to put marshals on track, fair enough, that's a safety car. But if it is literally retrieve a car that's stopped outside a marshal post, like we can see on the official feed now, double yellows in that sector, 30 seconds, pull it back in.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. I mean, I don't think that one there needed a red flag.
Exactly. And Pedro's raised another point. It's actually very disruptive for the drivers as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, once they get in their mojo and then they have to stop. Yeah.
Oh, Albon news.
Seemingly some hours ago, it's confirmed as a rear brake system issue, a problem which we know about and they're investigating further. But
Rear brake system issue.
problem as the brake fire in Bahrain testing.
Well, the fact it was on fire means there was definitely an issue.
But apparently not the same issue as Latifi's in Bahrain.
Is that more comforting, or the fact they fixed it, or more worrying the fact they got
Yeah,
another
I'm not
problem?
Sure. I'm not sure.
Either way, that means, yeah, we fixed it, but it's still doing the same thing.
Yeah, we fixed it, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
I think we're good for another couple of hours, Paul. It's a qualified session.
Alright, drivers back out on track.
We've had a few red flags, and we are still
Magnussen a little bit more red face, and hopefully a little bit, he'll stay off those white lines.
Yeah, he's woken up now.
He's still on for pole, Carl. He's still on for pole. just as I said that, he's put, come on, K-Mag. And Zenos says, how long before another red flag?
Oh, we don't know. Probably like a minute.
Well, if anyone remembers what happened in Spa last year with the race,
Oh my god.
I have a question or theoretical problem. What if, say there's a 2-minute lap, but there's a red flag thrown after 1 minute 50, for example, or less, each time the cars try and go out? Then none of them ever set a time. How?
Yeah.
I think they'd have to set it on sectors, wouldn't they? Like the fastest sectors.
Surely.
I mean, that would be... I wouldn't normally bring up these points, but we saw so many gaps in the FIA and F1 rulebook last year, Abu Dhabi, that it's worth having a hypothetical question like this.
Yeah. Let's just say I wouldn't want to answer like the driver's questions if that ever happened.
You've got pole because you went half a second faster in Q3 sector 1. What?
Yeah. Yeah, you have a driver, but I went fast this second too.
Exactly. And I did sector 1 and 2,
Yeah, I
but I spun off in sector 3. I caused a red flag.
yeah, but I just have pole.
Yeah, exactly. And Alonso did have a moment there. He's going sideways through most of the corners. He takes a very distinctive wide line through Tosa. He's done that for years.
I mean, currently going purple.
Tell you what, though.
Or he was going purple. Let's just say that. He
Okay.
was.
On my screen, he's going through Aqua Minerale. He's on the white. Yeah. Okay, but
I mean, it was good to catch it. It was good to catch it.
he hasn't done a K-Mag. Do you know what? Are we going to see dry tyres before the end of this?
Oh, I don't know.
I reckon if you're Bottas or Vettel, you'd try it. No, look at that. Okay, last sector's wet.
Yeah, the last sector's wet. It would be interesting to see if someone did go on slicks. Could wrestle it round the last sector, maybe. I don't know. Doris, maybe? Hint, hint. On slicks.
I will remind everyone who's on the watch along. My stream is probably 30 seconds behind yours. So yeah, Norris, yeah, goes P1. Perez doesn't look comfortable out there, does he? He's 2 seconds down on Norris. Vettel fourth.
Ricardo!
Finally, Ricardo showing some life.
I mean, Charles looks very fast at the moment, so I think that's going to change in a second.
I think he looked, yeah, easily fast. I mean, he'd look fast in a wheelie bin at the moment.
True.
Verstappen basically matched him.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, apparently Vettel's off at Tamburello, which is the first corner. More rain incoming. Okay, we're not going to see slicks. Looking at the final sector though, the final sector's too wet. If you were on the race, I'd be tempted to try it, but not qualifying.
Magnussen up in P3?
I'll tell you what, after last year, if K-Mag starts in top 3, no, well, he's not at the moment, but if he were to, top 5 is amazing for Haas. Perez is not improving either. He's still over a second down. Yellow flag. Who is it?
Who is it? Who is it? Bottas. It's Bottas.
Down at Ravazza apparently. So that's the final corner. And so yeah, that would have forced Max to go a bit slower. Although he's just gone provisional pole.
Yeah, by over 7 tenths.
It,
Oh my god.
that's going to be... That's a red flag. Yeah, red flag.
Why?
Oh, so they've got 3 minutes. They've got time for an out lap and 1 lap, and that's it. Another red flag. I think Xenos called 5 minutes. I think that was about 6.
Yeah.
I think Carl said it too, actually, now. Question is it going to rain more?
Yeah, it's the only point going back out again.
Look at Xenos' comment, you'll laugh.
I'm Red flag.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be going off down at Ravazza.
I think that is the sector that's the most affected by the rain at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex.
And that's Max. Off of Tamburello.
It's an off-roader.
To be fair, they put any deeper grooves on those tyres, they could probably go rallying.
True.
And I have seen a Red Bull literally ski, rally, whatever you want to put it, sled, down a mountain in the snow. And there was one time on Coulthard when the Kota was being built, drove around the track, which when it was all mud. Well, I say mud, it was dirt.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Red Bull seem to, I don't know,
Abuse.
some cool things with their cars. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely abuse those cars when they're done with them.
Yeah. I mean, what else are you gonna do? I guess stick them in museum somewhere or something.
Well, what a lot of the old teams used to do was sell them on. Problem is they can't now because of all of the hybrid technology in them, both on an industrial, not espionage, but on a well, let's just say on the safety side, they can't do it.
Yeah.
You get a lot of the old F1 cars from the 50s all the way through to the 2000s, all up to the time they get curves. They used to sell them on. So yeah, as Ted says, what car can light up the tyres fastest? And is it raining anymore? And Dennis says, that has to be it, surely. Well, I'm going to repeat what Murray Walker used to say. If one reversed...
Oh, come on.
If...
Surely he could have made that.
See, this is what I was kind of on about. He's pulled over right next door to a marshal's post. They could have easily got that in 20 seconds.
I mean, surely couldn't he have just coasted into the pits just then? Like, around that corner? Those two corners. I don't know. It just seems a bit...
I think if I was Bottas, I wouldn't want to be coasting down there.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm thinking just on his thought process, I wouldn't want cars coming up at full speed behind me through Ravazza.
True.
3 minutes to go. Looks like we are heading... Okay, so current rundown. Do you want to do it?
Yeah, can do. If you want. So currently we've got Max Verstappen on pole with a 1:27.9. Then you've got Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Kevin Magnussen, Alonso, Ricciardo, Perez, Bottas, Vettel, and Carlos Sainz. He's not in Q3, but he is. He'll be starting 10th tomorrow.
He's not, but he is. I like it. This is F1. The rules are flexible.
Yeah, he is and he's not in it.
I do want to see what Vettel can do, though. And I tell you what, every driver that's made at this point has deserved it.
Yeah.
I want to see Alonso do well. I want to see Vettel do well. I want to see Leclerc do well. Magnussen
To do well.
and McLaren's. I want them all to have pole. I want them all to set at the same time. And they've managed to squeeze in an interview with Hamilton, who looks both cold and lost.
Yeah.
Come here with optimism, and everyone's working really hard at the factory, and then things start
What is that there? The third red flag or the fourth red flag? Magnussen, Bottas, Albon, that's 3.
there are things that we should have done and we didn't do, and anyways,
Sure.
I have to start taking notes of this, aren't I?
to move up in the race. It'll be a difficult race, but hopefully tomorrow's better weather-wise, and who knows, maybe we can move our way forward.
Dude, I must extend the time of the racing every single time they do this. I mean, we must have been delayed nearly half an hour by now.
Very much, yeah, we'll just keep working.
Which, when it's a track that's not lit by, man-made lights, it's on certain tracks it's
Yeah.
going to become tricky. That.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Is it supposed to rain tomorrow and Sunday?
Let's have a look. I couldn't get my laptop on the internet a minute ago, so I'll have to have a look.
That'll be interesting. Because we haven't had oh, have we? No, we haven't, have we? We haven't had a wet race yet, have we? This season.
Not with these cars.
Yeah, not with these cars. So it'll be interesting to see how these cars deal with it. See how the team's race pace changes.
Well, the current forecast for Imola is currently dry, as in for now. So that's wrong. But
Yeah.
tomorrow is looking warmer. So
Okay.
that to me says dry. But the forecast for Sunday looks warmer than today, cooler than tomorrow, but wet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the car parks are not built for the rain, is all I can say. And that kind of got full
That river's not too far away, is it?
Hmm.
it's somewhere in that
That
corner,
is true.
very easy,
Per-
and it puts
Pedro says, do you remember what something similar happened in Jerez in 1997?
it will be, yeah.
Personally, I don't.
I should know the time in which they said, but what happened was Jacques Villeneuve set a time, and then Schumacher set the exact same time, and then Heinz-Harald Frentzen set, fine enough, the exact same time. All for pole position. I want to say it was a
How do
one.
you call that?
Whoever set it first gets pole, and that's the way they did it.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Mhm.
Imagine if all 3 of them just lined up, like, all together.
That'd make a very interesting start of a race.
It would.
But it does happen more often than we think. Drivers do set the same times. It's just they tend not to show it unless it's
Yeah.
for pole position.
True.
I mean, between us, we've all been round our favourite tracks on Gran Turismo, and we've set to amount of thousandths of a second, the same as the previous lap, or the same time, and we look at it going, hang on a second. So it does happen.
Yeah.
Admittedly, on virtual reality is a bit different.
It's raining again, apparently. Quite heavily.
I wonder what happened to Bottas's car.
Bottas is getting a ride in the truck.
Oh yeah.
I bet that will be used as a meme after this race.
Breaking down our traditions. Yeah. yeah, getting a lift back in Imola traditions.
Yeah.
It's not got electric windows, either.
Put the radio on.
Ted Kravitz just said he thinks Bottas has got an HGV license. Funny enough, I don't see that, but okay.
Maybe. Don't know.
And Pedro says, in relation to that 1997 Jerez one, yes, it was a very decisive race for the Drivers' Championship, because it ended up with Schumacher getting excluded from the championship that year, because he tried to play 1994 on Jack Villeneuve.
Interesting.
Essentially, anyone who remembers Michael Schumacher as the god of F1 needs to go and check out 1994, 1997, and Monaco qualifying 2006. He was not a clean driver. Unlike Manicourt, 2004-ish,
I suppose
2005.
he had the consistency.
Oh,
Like, it doesn't always make you the best driver, but if you're consistent, get the results. But it doesn't make you like a top tier driver. But I mean, still a record holder, I guess, to a certain level.
Oh yeah. I will go back on what I said there. I mean, he is a god of F1, but not always for the right reasons.
Yeah, I get that.
And yeah, it will restart at 18:38 local time, so that is in 2 minutes by my reckoning.
Yep.
And if it is raining, that is pretty much set for pole.
Verstappen couldn't get out there fast enough.
Oh god, yeah, and he took the wheel covers with him, didn't he? Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
And he nearly took out Leclerc.
Yeah, it's like, I'm getting out before you.
Okay, so really the only one I can see definitely improving, and that's just by default, is Vettel.
Yep.
It's going to depend on how much rain has fallen in those other sectors. Or we get a fourth red flag.
We see Perez improving on his.
It's going to depend on that water level, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks wet in that pit lane.
HRC, it fires up, obviously, without starter motor, but these engines are very clever at sitting on idle. They don't overheat. But I think if I was in Verstappen's position, you can definitely go down there a bit earlier.
It's almost a shame that Ferrari didn't get back Sainz's car, because they could probably have fixed that by now.
Probably.
Well, they
Because
would
they
have
don't want
mattered
to risk it. They know they're in Q3.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't matter too much anyway if it's rained heavier since they've set their times. I'll tell you what though, Perez is a long way back from Leclerc.
This message, you can't hang around here, just get on with it. It's a bit savage.
Yeah.
It's savage. I mean, he's in front of a Ferrari. And that just seemed really savage by
That is. What are the lap
Red
time?
Bull.
What is the current lap time? 1:27.9. If you're the first out of the pits, you may set 2 flying laps.
Yeah.
May. By about 1 second. But you're going to have to banzai the out lap and the actual lap. Nah, it's got to be 1 flying lap, hasn't it?
Yeah, with Norris not out of the out of the pits yet.
Keeping the temperature in the tyres.
Ooh. It's like, nope, you're not getting out.
Yeah, Verstappen definitely sat there for a couple of seconds. 27.999. Okay. Yeah, that first sector looks a lot damper than what it did.
Yeah, definitely.
though. If we stay as is, I'm happy because we've got 5 different constructors in the top 5.
Try to pass Verstappen if you can. I don't think he's going to make it easy for you.
Okay, we've got the McLaren and the Haas that have left, and the Aston Martin, which have only just left the pits. But they'll get round in plenty of time.
Yeah, Norris hasn't come out yet. Where's
Oh, yeah, there he goes. Apparently he's saying, Max is saying he hasn't got any grip, mate. When was he Australian?
Good day, mate.
He's been hanging around too much Ricardo, hasn't he?
Yeah. Leclerc's giving him space.
Lando Norris, who's not on a flying lap, he's just going round Tosa at the moment. He's got 1 minute 10 seconds to get himself to the line in time as Verstappen starts his final flying lap. Now, 8 pole positions in 2021.
There we go. Max going into Tamburello.
Verstappen hasn't had a pole in 2022, and here at Imola, the track that he's been third on the grid at the last 2 years, he is
Yellow flag.
Lando Norris has a moment at Aqua Minerali. Verstappen is hoping he can hold on to pole, and
He's off.
it's going to be another red flag.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the end of qualifying. That's the same place at Camirali as Magnussen. Yeah.
Won't resume now, and they know the job's done.
Okay.
And the driver, the reigning champion in the race,
Do you know what? That is like a fantasy grid, isn't it?
I'm sure to the
Yeah.
For at least the top 6 or 7.
has got the pole position award for this weekend. Charles Leclerc,
I think that says a lot about the style of track, though. The amount of red flags we've had, the sheer fact it's got gravel traps, leads to this problem.
Kevin Magnussen did make it
Yeah.
second row.
I think it depends on what you like with racetracks and Formula 1. If you like runoff or gravel traps.
Very tricky
Yeah.
indeed.
It'll be interesting to see.
Starts fifth on the grid, ahead of Daniel
So sprint race. Now my computer's working. Let's see what the points are for the sprint race.
Sebastian Vettel. First Aston Martin into Q3 for this season starts ninth. Carlos Sainz didn't take part in Q3 after crashing in the
Okay, right, there's a lot more points on offer for tomorrow then. For first it's 8 points. Then second 7. Third 6. Fourth 5. Fifth 4. Sixth 3. Seventh 2. And eighth 1. Interesting.
It's one way of doing it. I'm sure it wasn't intentional. Zach Brown's reaction there, I'm sure,
Yeah, I can tell it's
followed by a smile.
Carl, are you a Ferrari fan by chance? Or a Norris fan? Either way. Oh no, you want a K-Mag, didn't you? You want a K-Mag. Yeah, I get you. Sorry, being short memoried.
How you interpret after the 39
I mean, he's not too far away. P4's not bad. Second row.
one little shot.
Is that Haas's best ever starting position?
But it's a pole for the sprint. It's not a pole for the Grand Prix.
For the last few seasons, I think. Yeah.
It's dictated by the finishing order of the sprint. So it's only job half done.
Not sure if they ever started
The 3 weekends of the year
higher.
hold by stats.
I don't know if they've ever started higher than that.
Things might change.
Even
I can't
including
remember.
2016, 17, 18. Frederick says the track is quite narrow and some of the runoffs aren't that big. I think it was a thought process behind getting that many red flags out. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, true.
Well, that Bottas red flag one is a bit of a joke.
Yeah. And Kevin's one as well. But
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
he got himself out. He's fine.
I think you have to give them the red flag on the album Fire because there were bits of bodywork
yeah, definitely,
literally
yeah.
on fire on the track.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough for that one.
Yeah.
Great job by Lando Norris and McLaren as well for that P3. They will be
A lot of the drivers have got to go through their process now. Right, got to put a watch on, got to put a hat on the right way, got to make sure our overalls are done up. You can
Yeah.
tell this is run by an American consortium that are very worried about image.
Well, so Carlos Sainz used the scooter, Valtteri Bottas used the truck. What's Lando got?
Oh, he's got Aston Martin.
He's got the medical car. He's got the
And
DBS.
all the drives that have been recovered today have gone back in different methods. So we've
Yeah.
got truck, Aston Martin SUV, and scooter for signs. So what's the other ones? Boat and bus. There's not many more they could do, is there?
Not really, no.
And thank you very much, Zenos. Take care of yourself, dude, and hope to see you again shortly soon, buddy. Oh, they've got the old F2 commentator talking to Max.
Oh yeah.
He always annoyed me on commentary because he always said things backwards.
To be here, you know, it's an amazing track, and it also really punishes you if you make a mistake. You know, you can go in the wall.
I suppose that wasn't even a the best of qualifying sessions. So Max, he went off the track a couple of times.
Yeah. I reckon he could have found time if red flags didn't come out.
You were very strong when it counts at the end of this quali. And tell me about it's going to be
I'll tell you what though, you can definitely agree, Pedro. The commentator, the interviewer, he's definitely passionate, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But we all have our commentators that we like and do not like on feed. I hated who used to commentate for the ITV lot. I can't remember his name.
you are a bit angry about it was not the
He always said yesterday is yesterday, and you hear that all the time. And David Coulthard always says on this day in history. Each time you hear those specific phrases, you're like, I don't want to know. And Leclerc is not talking in English.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
That's good if you're Italian speaking.
Yeah.
Tell me in English, my friend. Tell me about was not easy anyway today because we saw Sainz not very lucky. We saw Valtteri. We saw many drivers that at the end also Lando Norris.
You have to see from his body language and Leclerc though, he does look a little bit, you can tell he feels a little bit cheated.
Yeah.
But considering he's had, I think he's at worst this season, he started third, fourth at worst maybe. And that is a massive improvement on last year.
Yeah, definitely. Lando made it, just about.
Yep. Also, yeah, cracking result from Lando. So what was he? Third? He was third, and it was Magnussen fourth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Great quali today. Tell me about your
I love it. He's saying great quality to Norris, and he's just spun out and caused a red flag.
seems very tricky from outside.
Yeah. No, I mean, of course, I'm happy. I'm top three, which is quite a surprise for us. There was a lot left, you know, because of in the lap. So I just tried to get the tire.
Oh, he reckons he had more time to give.
Too hard on the outlap, so
That's good to hear.
there was a chance.
I think if anyone's pushing 100% round there in those conditions, you're asking to go off.
There was
Yeah.
possibility for us to go forwards even more because the car was feeling.
I'll tell you what, some of the slow-mo pictures they're showing of the cars going through the puddles, with the lights all going off, are gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
Performance in
Not so much when they're going through the gravel trap.
Are you confident right now or no about your McLaren? Since the racing are going better and better, right, this year?
Better and better, but at some point that stops. I think it's difficult to say. These conditions.
Alright, so what is your prediction for the sprint race?
Completely dry.
Uh,
Third place. So, we made the most of
I reckon Verstappen, Leclerc,
the best opportunity to score some good points.
either
That's the aim.
stay where they are or they switch positions. I think third place, I'm not too sure. Has McLaren's race pace, like, got anything to offer, or could we see Magnussen podium? I'm not too sure. Looking at the top 10, it could be anyone's. I don't really see.
I think the first two are fairly nailed down. That third one is who makes
Yeah.
it through the first lap.
Yeah. Literally anyone's game is P3, I think.
Although, we could be on for a massive haul of points for teams like McLaren, Alpine, well, I say a massive haul of points, Alpine and Haas, relatively speaking, for them, in the
Yeah.
sprint race, even before the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
I mean, the top 3 stay as they are at the moment, I'm happy with that.
That'll do.
It might, yeah, be nice to see maybe Magnussen get a podium tomorrow. But I don't want to knock the McLaren off.
Yeah, same. Do they get a podium if they finish first, second, and third for the sprint?
I'm not sure they don't. Do they? They get like some sort of flower thing.
Something like
around their neck.
a wreath.
Yeah, I think if they, I don't know if they're still doing that this year, but last year they did.
Okay. I think I switched it off after the sprints last year, with the exception of Interlagos, because everyone was just so wired after that one.
Yeah.
A random fact from Pedro, Japan 2012 was the last time both Mercedes drivers didn't make it to Q3. And that would be Nico Rosberg and Michael Schumacher.
That's interesting.
Because that was the year before Hamilton joined. Okay. Okay, well that is the end of qualifying. I'm going to agree with you on the prediction with the top 2. I'm going to go for... do I go for Verstappen? I want Leclerc to win it. But
Yeah.
I think Verstappen around here is ruthless. I mean, we saw what he did to Hamilton at Tamburello last year. He ran him off the track. I think Verstappen's going to get it.
Yeah.
Then Leclerc very close behind. Third, I am actually hoping for Norris.
Yeah, me too. I mean, he came third last year. Obviously,
Yep.
it's a different car this year.
Very much.
So,
But it is amazing to see that McLaren is back where it probably should have been earlier in the year.
yeah.
But it's good to see they've recovered their performance.
Well, he did say he thinks because it was wet, they did well. If it was dry, I didn't think they were going to do as well.
True. But it's definitely an upward trend for
Upward, yeah.
McLaren.
Onwards and upwards, hopefully.
And it's a downward trend for Mercedes. And bad
Yep.
luck. Listen, but you have to say the Q2 was bad luck.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's bad luck.
But sometimes you make
Yeah.
your own luck.
True. And we never know. They might not have, even if they could have done more laps, maybe their performance wouldn't have changed and they would have stayed where they are anyway.
It is true. I mean, you struggle to get out of Q3.
True. Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting.
Well, I think we're all...
Interesting weekend.
Absolutely. I think we're all stoked and looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
But
Double the amount of racing. Let's go.
exactly. I still believe qualifying should be done tomorrow with
Yeah.
the sprint half an hour afterwards or something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I think that is... I mean, if they start factoring crashes and all that sort of thing, they'd have to do that for... well... just don't crash for somebody's drivers.
Yeah,
If they crash...
don't crash.
If they crash, they stuff up their own weekend. That's always been the fact. It's always been the same. But having extra cushion there for them because it's qualifying, yeah. Although
Yeah.
I tell you what, they are showing the qualifying lap from Max now.
Yeah, I think he had some time that he could have maybe improved on.
He takes that wide line through Toza like Alonso. It's when they come down to Aqua Minerale, which is the double right-hander at the bottom of the hill, where they were all touching the white painted line and scooting off into the barrier. which is what Alonso, Magnussen, and Norris did,
Yeah.
and Latifi. Did Latifi do it? I think he did. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he did.
I'm just used to saying Latifi's crashed. All right. Well, we'll be back. You're coming back for the race at least on Sunday, aren't you?
Definitely, I am up for the race.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be
So-
organising. I'm going to try and get out the practice before the sprint tomorrow, as well as the sprint race as well. So we'll be back tomorrow and Sunday for some more F1 podcasting.
Yeah.
And
I'll
thank you.
see everyone on Sunday.
First of all, thank you to you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure.
You
And
too as well.
thank you, anytime. And thank you to everyone who has been with us from the start and at all. So, I'm going to say wish you all a very merry Saturday for tomorrow. And enjoy your Friday. Catch you later.
Catch you later.
Bye. High five. High five.
Oh, that way.
No, other one.
That way.
That's it. Close enough. I'm reaching through the screen. Bye.
Bye. I've gone the way. Turn the way I'm going.
Ah, never mind. Close enough. Catch you later.